Mr. Neil Hill, who's all too familiar with this guy coming to the stage. He's been third in this competition, won the Arnold Classic, and Neil, you've worked closely with him. This is a time where you get to sit back and analyze what's been going on with one of your proteges over the past 6 months to a year.
Well, at first, yesterday, I don't think that William brought what I felt the best of William BONAC to the stage. I feel like William's got all the tools, the physique, the muscle bellies, the separation, hardness, refinement to really dominate and potentially win this class. Like a lot of maybe 3 other athletes, I don't feel that he brought his best yesterday, but from what I can see at the moment, I feel there's a bit more hardness, dryness, refinement, and there's a lot more feathering I feel through this front.
Yeah, and it's going to get very tricky here because we're seeing them individually. Until we see them all next to each other, then we'll maybe on a percentage basis be able to determine how much they dried out. But he looks a little bit more sharper than yesterday. I imagine all of them are going to be a little bit more sharper. But getting to the meat and potatoes, I think his strengths here are his arms, his legs. His back double bicep is very solid.
I think William's one of the 3-dimensional athletes, which you put him in pretty much most angles, he's going to be very dense, he's going to be refined, he's going to be detailed. And when William's 100% on, you'll see his hamstrings firing. If his hamstrings are firing tonight, which I didn't see yesterday, yes, there was feathering, there was separation and hardness through his glutes, but his hamstrings were not really feathering and really jumping out. But I feel that William's made improvements since yesterday, today, so it's going to be good to see him battling out where he's going to place.
And I've said in the past, William's a small, shorter bodybuilder. He needs to open up a little bit more so he appears bigger. Remember in Pumping Iron with Arnold, he said, Franco, you have to open up, you have to be grander. And William gets complacent in that, and he sometimes poses like a smaller bodybuilder.
Now guys, night over night, we are seeing a pretty big difference in the conditioning of William BONAC.
Yeah, there's no question he's a little bit drier. He's still, like Neil said, we've seen him better than this in terms of condition. The question is, did everyone else improve to the same degree or more?
I think that's obviously the door's wide open, obviously coming into this year's Mr. Olympia with a number of athletes potentially battling out for that. So obviously with William up in his game from yesterday, today, big respect. And obviously his main competitors, which were going to be battling against him for that number 1, 2, 3 spot. Hopefully there's going to be, improvements with their physique, which is going to mean tonight's final is going to be more exciting for all those audience out there.
Right, well I've said this in the past, even when you were working with William, he was always on the bubble of kind of spilling over. He's got a very short torso. He's got to keep his midsection tight throughout, especially in the transitions, and I think that's where he's lacking a little bit of detail that I've seen a little bit crisper in the past.
Well, this is our first look tonight at William BONAC. Before a little while from now we get to the confirmation round.
I've never really been a fan of the guys that walk back and forth and kind of arm in the air, begging for applause. I know Dexter does that. Kevin Levrone used to do it, but I'd like to see a more choreographed routine for the fans. Fans have been waiting to see the arrival of Hadi Choopan.
For me personally, I feel the introduction of this gentleman to have the opportunity and step on stage to represent himself, his home country, and all the different native bodybuilders around the world is absolutely fantastic. And for him to bring the package in his first Olympia, I thought he looked great yesterday. Have I seen him better? Yes, I have seen him better, not in the flesh, but within videos and pictures. But he certainly lived up to what I feel people's expectations, and I think he should be super proud of what he's done here, himself and his coach, Andy Rambod.
I can tell you, I looked at William, which I use him as the benchmark because William was top 3 in this show, and this guy's got a little bit more wow factor. They're very comparative in terms of their height and their structure. I think Hadi's a little wider across the back and the shoulders, which I think William's a little bit more narrow. I think Hadi's got his glutes and his hamstring.
Yeah.
I think William was a little bit behind in that department, and this guy is just stacked toe-to-toe with muscle, and he's got a great midsection when he hits that.
Well, he doesn't speak any English, but he definitely speaks applause, because as they cheer for him, he is getting tighter and hitting those poses a little bit harder.
Last night I said he's in the top 3. I think a lot of people agreed with me. I think Hadi Choopan could be fighting for the title.
I totally agree, Sean, 100%. There's no doubts about it, and I think he is the perfect comparison with William BONAC, because even though structurally they're different, it's like a Kai Green and a William BONAC.
Yes. Well, he didn't disappoint. And this guy's only missed 1 Olympia. This would be his 21st if he didn't sit out 1 year. some kind of record. I don't think it will ever be broken.
For me, I feel that Dexter is one of the greatest all-time bodybuilders. And the reason why I say that is just name me an athlete which has been consistently at the top, won all the major titles you can possibly can for such a long time. I don't know anybody.
You're absolutely right. But again, Neil, when you do something long enough, eventually Father Time wins. And tonight, I think Father Time is catching Dexter simply from the fact that we've seen Dexter so much more superior than what we've seen right now. While he's 49 years old, he'll be 50 in only a month. We've seen Dexter with that 8-pack abdominal wall that's not there tonight. We've seen the glutes shredded, which were not there tonight. We've seen the hamstrings in a little bit more. So that little film of water is holding him back from his dream of a repeat. I don't think that's going to happen here tonight. But how do you knock somebody as consistent and as great as Dexter? I find it hard to criticize him because I'm older than he is, and at 49 years old, I was sitting on the beach drinking beers.
Such a huge respect at almost 50 to put your body through this, and as much as he does every year to get that many wins under his belt, to stay in prep, to stay that condition, and just pound away on that near 50-year-old body.
Well, this is where genetics come in too. You see the traps. When he's done bodybuilding, those traps are still going to be there. Those shoulders are going to he's not going to shrink down to nothing. But being the veteran, Dexter knows in the history of this game, the midsection is where everything starts. And when you relax it, that's the first thing we start to criticize. I think a year ago, Phil Heath lost the Mr. Olympia because of his lack of control of his midsection.
Now, he is beloved in the sport, especially having been a fixture for so long.
I can tell you one thing. I don't think Dexter's done because he was 7th a year ago. I believe he's going to be in the top 5 or top 6 here tonight. And if that's the case, that's more gas in the tank to fuel another year. And we could be sitting here looking at a 50-year-old Dexter Jackson 1 year from now, because there's definitely shows out there that he can win. He won last month.
He won at Tim Gardner's Tampa Pro, and he went up against Luke Sandow, who we'll be seeing shortly.
I was there at the show, and I was super impressed with what Dexter brought, because I feel that Dexter was better this year in Tampa than he was last year on stage in Olympia.
Absolutely.
And we sit here and we've got to critique and we got to give our opinions and views and be very constructive. But Sean, for his age, his condition is still absolutely exceptional. Have we seen, is this the best of him? No, it isn't. But what he's presenting himself on stage is unbelievable for the industry in itself.
And to give it perspective, there's going to be a lot of guys going home that just got their butts kicked by a 49-year-old bodybuilder against, some stiff competition, top heavy, right? I mean, those shoulders and arms and lats, just some serious muscle. I imagine he believes that he can win this contest, Neil.
Brandon, William, Rowley, those were what I would say the main competitors coming into this show with equal ability to win this show. I feel that yesterday, structurally, just an absolute beautiful art, especially his upper body.
Look at those biceps and lats. He's playing to his strength. You see how he's doing the lunging poses? We were talking about his hamstrings being slight. He's choosing poses to accentuate his strengths, and they're working right now.
You see some feathers starting to develop in the tries as they bowl down, but they are just really sweeping like they're almost hamstrings. Those triceps are huge.
Yeah, Brandon is a former Arnold Classic champion. He also won over in New Zealand and in Australia. The Arnold Classic there as well. Was the very first Arnold Classic champion in Brazil. So he's got 3 of those titles on 3 different continents, but the one that he's here to get remains to be seen. I'm going to find that out. He's on the way.
I don't think that Brandon could be any fuller. I think he's got incredible thickness and fullness taking place upstairs, and he's also a great poser as well. He's a great performer, and I feel that he presents himself what bodybuilding is on stage.
Absolutely. I got to tell you that to a man, Brandon Curry does everything right. I mean, he's got 4 kids that he's juggling. He spends half the year over in Kuwait sending his checks back home to the family out in Tennessee, and he married a bikini competitor, Brandy Lever, a Hawaiian, with the Sean Ray Classic is at. Throw my little plug in there. But he is very concentrated on one thing: winning the Olympia, taking care of my family. That's a huge thing for him to want to desire to get, and it's right in front of him here tonight.
We are not far off from finding out if he's accomplished that this year with that open seat.
Big delta.
Big.
I feel Brandon's a little bit crisper today, maybe a little bit crisper, or certainly maybe a little bit fuller.
Well, you weren't with us last night, Neil, but when we walked off, it was hard to see who was going to be separating themselves from the pack. I think Brandon is a better version of what he was last night, and by himself, I crown him Mr. Olympia.
He'd be a great Mr. Olympia as well. He carries himself in a very positive way.
Yeah, and the thing about it is he's still got to get compared with these guys. But standing alone, I'm much more impressed with him right now than what I've seen previously.
Up for Brandon.
And this is where the rubber hits the road in the comparisons. To please the fans. Third place was his best finish last year here at the Mr. Olympia. Tumbled a couple of spots in March at the Arnold Classic, had a knee injury. Then he went on the guest posing circuit, and we saw glimpses of the future that Rolly was going to bring us. But last night, Tim, we noticed that he was a little bit watery. Neil, did you see the same?
Yeah, there wasn't the best of what we've seen of Roddy Winkler. I think the best I've seen of Roddy was last year's Mr. Olympia.
Yes.
I feel he's made some improvements since yesterday. He looks harder to me. But is it enough? We just have to wait and see as he starts transitioning.
You're not reading that properly. 5'6", 297. He's actually about 5'6" and a half and 297 pounds. I mean, he's a beast. They call him the beast because he carries so much muscle. But yeah, you're right, Neil. He's a little bit flat. He's a little bit watery. I got word that Rolly actually sustained a hamstring injury only a week ago. And anything to do with injury changes and alters the way you approach the weights overall. And most notably, the midsection is a little bit more watery and the back is watery, but those arms are signature arms. They're not going to go down. And he did get a lot better control with the midsection from years past.
I gotta say, at 5'6" and a half, 297, we talked about it in the opening, how some guys at that height and weight are just blocks of cartoon muscle.
Right.
And he maintains some beautiful lines and some different, that waist is a little smaller, that shoulder back ratio is a little better. He just puts together a really nice package considering it's that darn big.
Yeah, well, he's leaps and bounds from when he actually earned his pro card. He won the Arnold Classic Amateur, and then he went on to win over in Kuwait. He's won over in Finland. Arnold Classic in Australia. He knows how to win, and I believe he also knew that he was not 100% coming into this show, but nonetheless, it looked like from yesterday, Neil, he's going to be in that top 4. He's fighting for that top 4 spot.
Definitely in the top 4, obviously, between William, Rolly, Hadi, and Brandon. That is where they are going to be battling out.
Can you imagine, Tim, competing, knowing you're off, and you still have a chance to be the top 4 in the world?
Give it up for the beast, Rolly Winkler.
We're going to see just a little.
Brandon.
And now we get to the payoff. This is what you pay the big bucks to see. We are probably potentially looking at the next Mr. Olympia in this call out right here.
And I don't know if you guys saw that as we were talking. Cedric and Patrick were having quite a moment of some great camaraderie and some great encouragement.
It's going to be interesting where they start placing these, where they're going to start moving these athletes around. They're starting to do it now.
Hadi and Dexter switch.
Well, I got to tell you,
William and Steve switch.
Hadi, I believe, is in the conversation. These judges are going to play with us right now. They're not going to give away this show. Like going 1, 2, 3, like, you know what I mean? We're not going to figure it out right away. But I mean, I keep coming back to what Brandon is bringing. He's probably one of the more improved bodybuilders over the past 5 years.
This is a pose which really Brandon dominates tonight in his quarter turns. He's got so much depth through his hamstring and his thigh. He's got that upper body, he's got that mass, that shoulder, he's got that.
And to see the width difference between William and Hadi, we were talking earlier, this is where Hadi really is bringing it to William BONAC. So now we got to look next to Hadi over at Brandon, who Hadi is right there.
Hadi's lived up to my expectations, seeing him in the flesh, as well as, you know, pictures and videos, etc. And let's go back. He was a 212 athlete. Progressed, moved up, came into the open class, made a massive impression.
You want to hear something crazy? Dexter Jackson started out his career as a bantamweight.
Wow.
He's a full-fledged 230-pound bodybuilder now and has an Olympia trophy, 9 Arnold Classic championships, 29 victories coming from the bantamweight division.
Front lat spread.
And it looks like the veteran Dexter Jackson has actually improved in the last 20 minutes between the first round of posing.
Yeah, I actually believe that Dexter is battling it out with Rolly Winkler for 4th place.
Well, at the moment, guys, it looks like first and second look like it's between potentially Hadi and Brandon.
That's where I'm at. I was going to say that just before you said it, which would then leave William as the odd man out fighting for that 3rd place spot. Who would have thought, Neil, about 3 years ago that we'd be talking about Hadi and Brandon Curry potentially posing down for the Olympia title?
But this is what it's about. So this is supposed to be an international sport for everybody, and unfortunately, obviously, with issues between countries, it's forced the gentleman away from having the chance to prove himself as a true Olympia competitor, and he's really made a great impression here. Him and his coach, Harry Rambod, they've done a great job.
Guys, I gotta say, I love the open title this year, and I love the fact that it is just wide open to who brings their best.
Well, let me tell you, the whole weekend's been great, Tim. I mean, what Dan Solomon has done with Tamer El Gundy producing the show, and Dan Solomon presenting this competition and bringing his entire crew and staff here together. This is probably one of the most memorable Olympias that we've had in a long time, not to mention it's historical in nature. Crowning of a new Mr. Olympia, which we witnessed a year ago with Sean Roden defeating Phil Heath. This one has a little bit more suspense and hype to it, because these are guys that were never supposed to win the Olympia. These are guys we weren't going to be talking about as a Mr. Olympia winner, and now they're in the conversation.
In addition to what Dan Solomon and his team and Tamer have done, 650 plus competitors for the amateur Olympia this weekend.
Massive show. I think that's the biggest one that they've had. And again, what I was saying earlier is, like, 6 months ago, Hadi didn't even know if he can get a visa to come into the country. And you got to train through that, hoping that you get it. Can you imagine he looked like this, and a week ago they tell him no visa? We would have one of the best bodybuilders in the world sitting back home. And it would be a whole different dynamic we're talking about tonight.
Now, Neil, what was that switch we just saw with Dexter and
William? Yeah, to me that tells me that the number 1 and 2 is definitely the battle between Hadi and Brandon, just because of the situation. Otherwise, you would put William potentially in the middle of those two and put him in the center and compare him between those two athletes. And if first, second, and third in no order is those 3 athletes, then they're totally different shapes and structures. Look at them.
Well, don't be surprised if Dexter Jackson pulls up into 4th place.
Yeah.
Because he's made better improvements than Rolly did overnight. I believe I firmly got Steve Kuklo in 6th.
Hadi's shoulders and arms were just bursting off of each part they're supposed to be.
Well, you know what? If he doesn't win the contest, he's already won the country. What he's done in his first Olympia right now is significant and will be talked about for years to come.
Brandon and Hadi.
There it is.
And let me tell you something. They're not giving them a chance to rest. You know why? Right now, this is where you earn your money. They're giving $400,000 away. You better get back out there, and they've got to fight for it. If you come out there thinking this is going to be a walk in the park, somebody, look at the look on Brandon's face. He's like, I'm ready for this. You got to fight for every inch of space on this stage.
So this is your top 3.
And guess what? None of them are over 5'7". The last guy to win that tall was Dexter Jackson in 2008. It's been 11 years.
Brandon switch. Well, we know that top prize is $400,000, but second and third, $150,000 and $100,000 respectively.
Steve Weinberger's playing with us. He's got them all moving around like a magic act, not letting anybody get comfortable in their positioning.
I definitely feel that Williams had an injury on his right quad.
Well, I could tell you, that didn't slow him down, because a year ago he was a little bit watery, and he wouldn't have been in this lineup. I believe he was 4th last year, yes?
Yeah. Yes.
And he is the benefactor of not having a Sean Roden and a Phil Heath and a Big Ramy in this competition, because the injury, however slight or even noticeable, he's still going up against a 49-year-old in Dexter Jackson that didn't bring his A game, and a potentially injured Rolly Winkler who's slightly off too.
William was actually 5th last year. Brandon was 4th.
Okay.
With Rolly in 3rd.
Either way, he's the benefactor. William is the benefactor of certain circumstances involving the other athletes right now. And it just goes to show you, you can't put on a show unless you actually show up. And it's a hard road to get to Mr. Olympia.
William was 4th last year. Roden, Heath, Rolly Winkler, William BONAC.
Correct. Thank you for correcting that. William is making note of how big his arms are. They are big, but the judges can see that. Calm down, William.
On the line.
One of William's best body parts is his arms, and he was definitely making sure the judges were noticing. You see they keep inching closer to him. There's a reason for that. The closer you are to the judges, the more three-dimensional you look. But they are smart enough to keep them in the best lighting, to have them on the line so that no one has an advantage.
Okay, now, I just saw an earpiece on Hadi Chupan.
Yes, he's had difficulty hearing for quite some time. A lot of people are trying to he looks like he's trying to read your lips. He doesn't speak English. And so what do? We talk louder, thinking he will understand, but he's got a hearing impairment.
That's a phenomenal pose for William. Any rear pose, he is unbelievable. And personally, me, I have him winning the rear poses.
And you can see that his glutes are very tight. But this is where he loses it. He just doesn't have the width, and that's the genetic thing. Hadi and Brandon are killing him on this lat spread.
And they're getting worked.
And they should. This is what we paid to see. We want you guys to fight it out. That's why you have to practice, practice, practice. Long before you get here, you'll notice some guys start to shake. It's because they didn't practice the posing. It's the hardest thing to do when you're watching your carbs, when you're doing extra amounts of cardio. You get lightheaded very easy. So you have to do this at home when no one's watching, so that when you
Thank you, gentlemen. Back in line.
That was a...
Zach, please take the 5th place award, the check for $40,000, and present it to Rolly Winkler.
Gentlemen.
Well, there you have it. Dexter, the vampire, is still alive.
The 49-year-old was not 5th.
Well, that's the question, Neil. Did Rolly drop that much, or did Dexter improve that much? You said Dexter's a better version than he was a year ago.
I feel that Dexter's made improvements since last year as far as that conditioning, and unfortunately, obviously, Rolly has gone backward in that area. Sure, not from the lack of effort and hard work, but unfortunately, you miss your peak and it can hurt you come contest day, and obviously this is proven here.
All right, Kevin from Almax will present the 4th place award. Please take the 4th place award, the check for $45,000, to our 4th place finisher, the Blade, Dexter Jackson.
Ageless.
Absolutely incredible what Dexter continues to do. And with that 4th place finish, I got to tell you, this guy's probably going to be back next year. It's hard to walk away on top. I left on my final 2 Olympias was in 2000, 2001 in 4th place, and I was done. I think Dexter has just got validation that he's still got more gas in the tank, and he will be 50 if he comes back next year.
You can't be disappointed with a 4th place. That's remarkable.
Knowing how many shows he did this year and knowing that he wasn't at his normal peak, the blade condition, you know he's got gas in the tank to come back for first, second, or third another time.
Yeah, and I definitely think this helped him not
Randy
to do more.
Lloyd from Performix presenting the third place award.
Well, he didn't have to win this to still have gas in the tank. He can win other pro shows.
Randy will take the third place award, the check for $100,000, the Olympia bronze medal, to our third place finisher, Hadi Chupin.
Wow.
There it is. Hadi Chupin in his very first Mr. Olympia winds up getting third place, the bronze medal, which is definitely a victory for him. But again, we were talking, Neil, about William improving a little bit more than the other day. So is this a valid, justifiable position for Hadi Chupin?
Yes, I think it's apples and oranges, different physiques.
And how about a hand for the
Different physiques. I feel that Hadi's brought a level of condition and fullness and wide latch, wide shoulders. Obviously, that's an area that William genetically is obviously just narrow in those clavicles, those shoulder area. But strong finish, strong place. And
Gentlemen, in Olympia tradition, if I can have our two
Absolutely.
finalists in the center, please.
It was close between those two. That's where the contest really was.
And if I can have both presenters on stage, please.
All right, Jake.
Jake Wood presenting the second place award. Dan Solomon, Chief Olympia Officer, along with Jim Mannion, IFBB Pro League President, will present the first place award.
Jake Wood from Wings of Strength. Dan Solomon doing a great job this year in the first year as his Chief Olympia Officer.
William BONAC with gas in the tank. He could upset the apple cart
The
here.
next name you hear will be our 2019 Mr. Olympia. We'll now announce the winner of the Olympia. Please take the check for $400,000, the Olympia gold medal, and the Sandow. To our winner, and new Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry.
Well, there you have it, fans. Brandon Curry is your 2019 Mr. Olympia, the 15th in our 55-year history.
Brandon Curry doing exactly what he said he was going to do when he won the Arnold Classic, which was come to Las Vegas and win the Mr. Olympia. If you believe it, you can achieve it. And he did just that. And William BONAC surprised a lot of people here tonight, Neil.
yeah, I mean, every single one of those athletes has to walk away being happy with what they've achieved as far as their places. Brandon's obviously the new 2019 Mr. Olympia. William coming in second. The first time he's come second, he's come third, he's come fourth, so he's moving forward in the right direction. Dexter Jackson's moved up a place. He's got 1 year older.
I think we're living in an age right now where this is not going to be a dominant Olympia run here, because all of these guys can take turns in the next 3 to 4 years winning this championship.
That really would be fun to have that kind of openness every year to battle it out for the top spots.
And just remember, William, Hadi, Brandon, and Rolly, they're still young in the industry.
That's right, absolutely. And they got a lot of gas left in their tank. And we could be seeing these guys for a while until some of these newer, younger guys catch up with their maturity. But right now, Brandon Curry stands $400,000 richer for the effort and has joined a fraternity of 14 legendary bodybuilders. He will forever be remembered in the annals of bodybuilding by the acquisition of this Sandow Trophy in the 55th year of the Joe Weider Mr. Olympia weekend.
Up in a big hand for your runner-up, William BONAC.
And you can clearly see on Brandon's face that he ain't surprised. He put in the work, and this is what he expected.
Big fat check right down on the ground. Gentlemen, your favorite pose, please.
Yep. I'll be seeing Brandon Curry in a couple weeks as he's guest posing for the first time as Mr. Olympia at the Daytona Beach Classic.
And then right after that, I believe November the 2nd, he will be at the Romania Wings of Strength Championships
let's get
as
William
a
right
featured
next to
guest
Brandon
poser.
Hottie. Move
And
in. There we go.
November 23rd at the Sean Ray Hawaiian Classic, Tim. So he's already
your favorite pose,
got a very busy schedule. And I want him to bring that medal and the trophy with him back home to Hawaii, which is where his wife is from. He's got 4 kids, so he's got some in-laws out there in Hawaii. They're going to be really excited.
Top 3, stay there. Hottie, stay right there.
I have to feel very happy for the promoters like yourself who locked him in before he became Mr. Olympia.
Your favorite pose?
I like a guy with confidence. When he told me in March he was going to win the Mr. Olympia, I said, hey, you're coming to Hawaii.
Hottie Chupin looking great. That is a tight top 3 right there. Everybody looks really, really good. Everybody dialed in nicely for tonight, Neil.
Absolutely. Nobody can hang their head down. Hottie made a very good impression by getting 3rd place in his first Olympia, a la Lee Haney back in 1983.
And with William and also Brandon, they brought more condition to this evening, so obviously they've done their homework within the last 24 hours.
All right, history made once again here in the Olympia stage, and I'm standing here with your new Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry. That's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it, Brandon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Woo! I just say God is good. I thank God for allowing me to have the discipline, the consistency to believe and continue to fight no matter what, and for putting a good team around me and good support around me. Battle Will Die, the Oxygen team, my wife for allowing me and believing in my dream, allowing me to leave and do what I need to do to be a champion. I mean, it's a blessing to have so much support and see this dream fulfilled. I remember back in 2006, my first Olympia, seeing what I thought was impossible. Jay Cutler taking out Ronnie Coleman. And from that point on, I felt like this stage was where I needed to be. And it's a testament here today that no matter what you're going through, your ups and downs, if you find purpose in something, pursue it hardcore. And don't let anybody talk you out of it. And just be consistent and proficient. No matter what happens, you have to hold the faith that you can do it. Because if it's your purpose, it's for you. So nobody can take it from you but you, because it's God-given. But I thank my team, my coaches, put together a crazy year for us, man. Abdullah, it's a crazy year, man. We have a great synergy together, and it's been awesome, brother. He struggled coming into this contest, hurt his back and everything. But 2 weeks out, and he was able to still continue and be here today to finish it off. So the team has been great. Y'all been great, supportive, and we got one, baby. We got one.
Well, Brandon, you sure did. Now, you have sacrificed. Most people know your story, but you have made the ultimate sacrifice. You have a very large family. You've got, what, like 18 kids or something like that?
Just 4.
4. I knew it was something around there. But you live away from your home. I mean, you actually moved to Kuwait to train and put 100% effort into the Olympia, and it's all paid off.
It's just definitely what I needed. You know, a balance in life is not, it's hard to find. So, you know, being a family man and, you know, sacrificing my job for just the betterment of my kids and the experiences of life is something that I got caught up in, and it took away from this bodybuilding. My wife saw that, and she knew that I needed to be away to focus on this job, and she handled the load while I was gone to allow me to focus on one thing, and that's to become a champion. And, you know, I owe her everything for that, and it's paid off. So I'm just grateful that God gave me a wife like that understands and is the backbone. Without her, I wouldn't be here. She pushed me out the door, you know, even though she didn't want to. She pushed me out the door and said, go do it. Go chase your dreams. She told me in high school, she's like, you need to be a bodybuilder. I was like, I don't want to be on no stage and pose in trunks and oils, but she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time. So, like I said, much love to you, babe.
Yeah, well, your babe's right back here. Come on up, everybody. What do you think of that? How about that, guys? Daddy's Mr. Olympia.
This is my team here. This is my base. You know, these boys, they watching me, man. And I've never lived a normal life. They don't know what a normal life is. But I want them to see that you don't have to live a normal life. You follow what, you know, you feel that God's putting you to pursue. And you can be anything that you want. And hopefully they see that example. And they know that, you know, hard work and discipline will get you to the mountaintop as long as you're consistent. So I try to set an example anywhere I can. I try to get these guys the mentality and the mental conditioning that they will need to take whatever they want to do in life as far as they can go. So I love my family.
We love you.
Well, Brandon, in Olympia tradition, you get to keep that. And Brandy, she gets that. Yeah, there's your sacrifice, buddy, huh? Enjoy your shopping spree, Brandy.
Oh, no, it's business, baby.
It's all business, she says. All right. Well, folks, history has been made. Your new lucky number, my friend, is 15. Only 14 men previously since 1965 have held this title. Brandon, your lucky number 15. Congratulations. And ladies and gentlemen, your new Olympia champion, Brandon Curry. There you have it, folks. History once again here on the Olympia stage. What a great Olympia weekend we had. Record-setting attendance at the Expo, at the Meet the Olympians, at the press conference. Huge thanks to the new team. Dan Solomon, Chief Olympia Officer, Tamer El Gindi, our producer for the event. Gentlemen, congratulations. On behalf of Jim Mannion and the IFBB Pro League, David Pecker and AMI, and all our staff here at Olympia Productions, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We're heading over to the gala to celebrate, folks, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., the Weider Superstar Seminar.